In the past, workers could protect their rights through strikes, because without them, capitalists couldn't produce anything. But now we are seeing that AI and robots replacing more and more basic jobs. Even drones are being used to replace soldiers on the battlefield. So, in your view, how can workers protect themselves in the age of AI?
That's such an excellent question. There are, of course, things that AI or technology in general are in sync with socialist goals. I mean, Aaron Bastani has written a good book. His book is about how technology can actually reinforce socialism, making more abundance sometimes, and sometimes actually freeing up labor from certain menial jobs that human beings might not like to do. The Dalit movement in India, which is sort of most oppressed section, the oppressed caste in India, they have been talking about using technology to replace the menial work that they do in terms of cleaning up sewer tanks and cleaning up toilets and so on and so forth. You do need technology for. So at a very general level, I don't think socialism and technology are fundamentally opposed to each other. But yes, you are right. It has significantly shifted the power within labor capital relationship towards capital. And as you said, I mean, this is a phase we had already seen in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s in particular, where certain technological revolution weakened the labor movement dramatically. That was also why a lot of those layoffs and privatizations were possible to begin at the first place in so many parts of the world, because think about container ships. Think about how the assembly line itself has been disarticulated. So earlier there would be one city that produces, let's think about the textile industries in Shanghai or in Bombay. The reeling, washing, spinning, weaving, everything would be done in the same city in different departments. So the workers can come together through their unions and really strike and stop it. But now think about Nike. It subcontracts making of the laces to 20 different factories in different cities. And that's just about the laces. There are 10 different factories in different parts of the world to make soles. And eventually Nike retains the intellectual property right to, own the shoe. But nothing is produced in a same locality, and there are 10 different subcontractors. So even if one unit goes on for strike, the production continues. And that has meant that your labor's ability to strike has significantly been downgraded. Now you can add AI into that. Now it is saying that we would not just divide labor or delink labor, we would just create more and more reserve army of labor. We would create more and more redundant labor, which should mean that there is just no bargaining power for labor within that relations of production. And so that's the labor capital. I'm also worried as a socialist about the very essence of our belongingness in this world of AI. Elon Musk would like our kids and our adults to think more about the prospect of colonizing Mars or Moon, excuse me, rather than how socialist poets used to tell us about imagining the moon as a symbol of romance, for instance, as a symbol of love, as a symbol of peace. So that the moon has become this commodity, an insurance at the event of blowing up this world by nuclear holocaust or climate change. And the elites of that would go to the moon and save the human species. It's just a grotesque thing. I also think about even child rearing. My brother has had a kid. She is 4 year old now. I see how kids grow up with mobile phones or iPads. Absolutely no human to human interactions. no socialization in your neighborhood. What does that do to our idea of the collective itself? Um, this is a very different world from the work unit system that China used to have. Now, kids in China would grow up watching more animation in their Apple phones and iPads, thinking about one's own existence as an individual, at best trying to maximize his or her interest. And when it comes to the collective, it has all we are left with is are this very vague idea of nationalism, a very vague idea of rallying behind the flag, very vague idea about supporting our military, but we have no sense, or we have diminishing sense of what collective goods is concerned, and that's why people say, why should, if you think about why the rich increasingly feel victimized everywhere. I mean, the rich feel victimized about having to pay taxes. The rich feel victimized about not having the benefits of affirmative actions. The rich feel victimized about rising labor cost. The rich feel victimized about squeezing job markets. Kids of rich also feel victimized about the rising housing costs, the burden of having to own 4 different cars. I'm exaggerating a bit, but if one of the things I hear in China is that I don't want to marry because there is a lot of stress about buying a house and owning a car, because that's what the girl side want from you. Uh, it's a ridiculous world that technology is driving us towards. And so, what worries me, apart from the labor capital relations, which is, of course, the heart of what socialism is, but also is this dramatic collapse of the idea of the collective, the idea of public good, the idea of solidarity, essentially reducing us to individual atoms, effectively creating a social Darwinian world, a Hayekian world, where there is no other reality except from your own individual. That is really, really concerning for me. And I don't think AI would be helpful unless we, as humanity, seriously think about it and draw defense mechanisms against it.
So